there, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the walkthrough of the mindfulness exercise. And so this is the Your Turn exercise from the end of your regression lesson. And what I've done, as usual, is to set up my working environment. So I've set my working directory, so make sure that you're setting your working directory. And then I've imported and attached the data frame. So mindfulness regression was attached. And so I am now ready to go and run analyses. Now, my assumption is that you're probably going to just borrow my code and then replace the variables in it. And that's fine. Just make sure that you have followed the steps to set up your working environment correctly. Now, the research question was, does mindfulness awareness, so basically the variable awareness, positively predict self-efficacy in online learning, or rather the learning variable? And so again, does awareness predict learning? And so if you would like to just check that assumption about the linear relationship, feel free to do the plot. So if you're curious about that, go ahead and replace the dependent variable. The independent variable is still awareness, so you don't have to change anything about that from my code. And, loosely looking reasonably linear, pretty similar to what we saw in lecture. And so, I might maybe fit a regression line that kind of looks like this, but the relationship looks reasonably linear. And you were asked to obtain both unstandardized and standardized coefficients. Oops. And so let's do that. And so first of all, you want to run the unstandardized coefficients part. And so maybe if you wanted to use the same convention as before, optional, you might call the model learning aware or something like that. And then the dependent variable that is getting regressed on your independent variable would be learning. So you have replaced the dependent variable. And then you also want to make sure that the model is updated within your summary part of your code. And so let's try running that. And so here is your regression result where you're regressing learning on awareness. And so again, learning is the dependent variable. The independent variable is awareness. And then in this instance, unstandardized coefficients. And then again, you will want to do another simple regression where you're getting the standardized coefficients. And so if you wanted to just go ahead and replace the code, you can do it in multiple different ways, but I might just do something like this. And then replace the dependent variable. And so here, again, I'm running a regression model and saving it, this time as standardized model. I've labeled it as such, and then I have put scale around each of these variables to convert them to z-scores or standard deviation units, and then getting a summary of that model. And so let's try running that. And so here we have it. And then if you are thinking that you would like to get these translated to regular notation, not scientific notation, you might remember that you can use the round function to have our studio or R help you with that. And so if you would like, you could try to run the round function to try to get that information translated. And so here, here's the coefficient that is the standardized coefficient for awareness, and it is right here written out in regular notation. And as you might remember from lecture, the intercept is going to be 0 when you're working with standardized version of your regression. Now, if you're curious, you can also check your assumptions. And so in this instance, usually for these, I like to just do the regular version. And so I am going to replace the information that I had with a correct model. Now, if you wanted to do just a batch search and replace, you could also just go to edit, replace, and find, just a pro tip. But in this case, I just have updated this manually. So if you're curious, you can also run those analyses for checking those assumptions. And so here's a histogram, somewhat normally distributed, but not perfectly so. The QQ plot, again, the same finding, getting close. And then here's a way to check for homoscedasticity. And so a little bit suspicious on this side, but these checks are there in case you would like to verify that your regression is worthy of your interpretation. And so that's all. And the main results you can find where you have run your summary functions. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Take care and hope you have a great rest of your day.